Right now, in front yards from Connecticut down to Texas, a small tree is finishing its bloom. Bright magenta flowers growing straight out of the bark, covering the branches, sometimes covering the trunk itself. You have photographed this tree. Your neighbor probably paid a nursery for one. Every single one of those flowers is food. Raw, off the branch, with no cooking and no preparation at all. They taste like sweet green peas with a little lemon behind them. Almost nobody in America eats them. And the reason is written down, in public, in a United States patent. Welcome to Nature's Lost Vault. On March 3rd, 1785, George Washington spent the day planting at Mount Vernon. His diary entry for that day survives, and you can read it yourself in the National Archives. He lists locusts, sassafras, yellow willow, a honey locust, and a service tree by the South Garden House. And then, plainly, right in the middle of the list, the red buds. Washington was not the only one. Thomas Jefferson planted them at Monticello. The tree had been in formal cultivation since 1641, and long before either of those men picked up a shovel, the people already living here were eating it. The tree is the eastern red bud, Cercis canadensis. It belongs to the pea family, and that is the clue everybody walks past. Watch what happens after the flowers fade. Flat green pods hang from the branches, 2 to 4 inches long, with 6 to 12 seeds inside each one. Those are legumes, the same botanical family as garden peas, beans, and lentils. Botanists have never hidden this. It is printed right on the nursery tag in the word Fabaceae. Ethnobotanical records from the early 1900s describe native peoples eating the flowers raw or boiled, and roasting the seeds inside the pods. The young pods were cooked the way you would cook a snow pea, and the tight, unopened buds were pickled and used the way a modern chef uses capers. Now the numbers. On a zero moisture basis, red bud seed runs between 22.9% and 27.5% protein, with roughly 8% fat. That is the exact protein range of a dried lentil hanging on a tree in a suburban front yard. The green seeds also carry linoleic acid and alpha-linolenic acid, 2 fats the human body cannot manufacture on its own. That second one disappears once the seeds mature and dry out, which tells you exactly when to harvest. The flowers carry vitamin C as well, in the neighborhood of 69 milligrams per 100 grams, which edges out an orange by weight. Nobody is going to eat 100 grams of blossoms in one sitting, so treat that as a bonus rather than the reason. The real reason is that it is free. It is already in your yard, and it arrives in the hungriest month of the year. So how does a food tree, planted by 2 American presidents, end up as something nobody eats? Part of it is a name. In southern Europe and the Middle East, there is a close relative, Curtis siliquastrum, known for centuries as the Judas tree. The story goes that Judas Iscariot hanged himself from one, and the pale flowers turned red. That tree is not this tree, but the two look close enough that early settlers carried the European name across the Atlantic and hung it on the American species. When Oklahoma moved to make the redbud its state tree in 1937, lawmakers had to settle the Judas question before the bill would pass. Name will do real damage. But a name does not build an industry. Money does. Somewhere in the last century, the redbud stopped being a tree and became a product. Until the 1990s, every new redbud variety in America came from a chance seedling that somebody happened to spot. Then a formal breeding program went to work on it in Raleigh, North Carolina, and the tree was redesigned on purpose. You can trace the money because it is published. It sits in the breeder's own curriculum vitae on a university website. There is $36,000 from the J. Frank Schmidt Family Charitable Foundation, the the philanthropic arm of a wholesale tree nursery. Another $26,000 came in from the North Carolina Nursery and Landscape Association, and $19,800 more from a company called Star Roses and Plants. All of it from people who sell trees for a living. But the line that matters is the title of that first grant. They called it Development of Improved Cultivars of Redbud Demonstrating Novel Ornamental Characters. Ornamental characters. Not a word in there about nutrition or flavor or how much food the tree actually makes. Nobody was paying for that. The output of that money is a catalog. In 2018, the journal Hort Science published a checklist of every named redbud cultivar in existence. Dozens of them, sorted entirely by appearance. There are weeping ones with purple leaves, gold leaves, leaves variegated in white. Every entry describes the tree the way a catalog describes a curtain, and a good number of them are patented. United States plant patent number 23,998 covers a redbud called whitewater. This is the legal claim, word for word as filed. A new and distinct variety of redbud tree, characterized by its weeping growth habit and attractive green and white variegated foliage. That is the entire claim. Growth habit and foliage. The patent goes on to describe the redbud as a tree grown for its attractive purple flowers and its interesting foliage color. Nowhere in the legal document does anyone mention that a human being can eat it. It is not just one patent either. Plant patent number 27,712, granted in 2017, covers a redbud with variegated leaves in purple, pink, and white, developed, in the filing's own words, in a partnership between the university and North Carolina nurserymen. Purple, pink, and white leaves. That is what the partnership was for. Every one of those patented trees carries a royalty. A share of the sale price flows back to the institution that bred it, funding the next round of breeding and the next patented cultivar. That loop works. It has produced genuinely beautiful trees. But look at what the loop cannot pay for. Nobody owes a royalty on a flower you pick and eat in your own driveway. There is no revenue in a free lunch, so there is no research budget for one. That is the whole mechanism, not a cover-up, an incentive. And now the turn, because this is the part worth staying for. In 2017, 3 researchers published a study on redbud flower pigments. Penelope Perkins Vesey, Guoying Ma, and Dennis Werner, working out of North Carolina State University. They gathered flowers from wild eastern redbud and from named cultivars, and they measured the compounds producing the color. They were measuring it in order to sell it. Color is the product. But what they found are anthocyanins, with names like cyanidin, peonidin, petunidin, and malvidin. That is the same class of antioxidant pigment that makes blueberries and red cabbage worth putting on a nutrition label. Total anthocyanin content came back between 2,263 and 8,730 milligrams per kilogram of dry flour. So the data exists. It was gathered by the ornamental program itself as a side effect of trying to breed a prettier tree. The exact same people selling you the redbud measured what is nutritionally valuable inside it, and then printed a tag that said, "Full sun to partial shade." Now, the useful part, and this one is easier than almost anything we have covered. Wait for the bloom. The flowers open before the leaves do, anywhere from February in the deep south to May in the north. Pick the open flowers and the tight, unopened buds, rinse them, and eat them. The flavor is tart, green, and faintly sweet. On a fully open blossom, the pale upper section is the sweet part, and the darker lower section carries the bitterness. So some people pull the two apart before eating, scatter them across a salad, set them on top of a cake. Pickle the closed buds in vinegar, and use them anywhere you would use a caper. Then wait a few weeks. After the flowers drop, flat green pods appear. Take them while they are still flexible and bright green, before any bulge shows where the seed is swelling, and cook them the way you would cook snow peas. Every cultivar is edible, including the purple-leafed ones and the weeping ones. The patent covers how the tree looks. It has nothing to do with what is inside it. 2 honest notes before you go out there. Eat a small portion the first time, the way you would with any food that is new to you. And skip any tree you know has been sprayed, which rules out a lot of commercial landscaping. Go back to that front yard. Same tree, same pink flowers coming straight out of the bark. Nothing about it has changed since March 3rd, 1785, when George Washington wrote red buds into his diary and went inside for the evening. What changed is us. Somewhere between that entry and this one, a tree that fed people turned into a tree that decorates people. It did not take a conspiracy. It took a market that pays very well for beauty and nothing at all for food, and about 100 years to finish the job. The tree kept producing anyway. It bloomed this spring. It will bloom again next spring, right on schedule, before anything else in the yard has leaves. The only thing it has been waiting for is somebody to walk over and recognize it as dinner. If this vault changed how you see the wild plants in your own world, do not let it disappear again. Subscribe to Nature's Lost Vault. The next vault opens soon.